Hello world, and welcome to our Monday Mastermind, and today we're going to discuss the topic of how to optimize our selling process using our concepts from the Sales Synergistics platform. First and foremost, in order to be customer-centric in this 21st century sales, we have to start by mapping our customer personas and knowing who it is that we want to reach. You have to go through each persona in detail, understanding not only just who they are, but exactly what they're dealing with in their lives, their backgrounds, their makeups, and any key facts about their pains and the gains in their lives that they hope to get from achieving the goals that your solutions provide. As you move through that, you can apply everything that you do in your selling process back to making that specific target persona happen. Once you understand that, you need to think about how those target personas actually consume the services that you provide. You've got to map the buying process in detail, step by step, analyzing exactly what they do in the times when they're not around you and your sellers. Once you understand that, you can then go back and apply the details of what goes on in your sales organization to match up with what actually happens in their world. Which leads to the next example. If you have a sales team that is actually out there working and bringing in revenue for you now, there is a process in place. I don't just mean the process that you have on paper, written down and explained and trained to your new reps. There are sets of steps that actually happen outside in the outside world with your team. And you're going to have to go into that organization and observe it. For you solopreneurs out there, it's important to map your own behaviors carefully, which can't really be done without an outside perspective. It requires that outside eye to see what's truly happening in your customer's buying process and then be able to analyze exactly what you're doing as a seller or your sales team members are doing in their day-to-day interactions. It's going to require both interview to ask them what they do and observation. And once you do that, if you have a large team with multiple different components, you can start to apply the different steps that apply to different arms of your organization so that you can have documented exactly what happens inside of your team to show exactly how your customers provide value. Once you do that, you can then compare all of the details of what actually happens in the verbal explanation of how your customers are being sold and the actual observation that you've seen, and make sure that the things that you've observed are going to work for both your average sellers and your top sellers. It's important that your interviews you do start with the top sellers first, so you can get the key best practices that you can say definitely are driving results for those individuals. As you observe the true selling process and the way it's happening in your organization, you need to look for points of friction, those things that cause the buying process to slow down. And those come on both the seller side and on the buyer side. You need to look at the things that cause your reps to have less time to really create customer experience. Make sure you take administration and research and analytics off of their hands so that they have time to focus on the interactions with the customers. And in the same way, look at the friction that your customers may have in waiting for responses, having to do their own research, or anything that doesn't match up with the expectations that were set. No one likes to be let down. Make sure you eliminate all the friction to get as close to a frictionless selling environment for both your sellers and your customers. And last but not least, you want to optimize the process using the 5-ring framework. In this framework that we've talked about, you can always analyze the individual steps that help to fertilize the seed of the efforts that your sales team puts in place. Make sure that all of the different important parts that come from all parts of the organization are there so that when the customers or the reps reach for information, reach for some sort of assurance through validation of affiliates and associates, that you've got those things available for them and everybody can move smoothly through. So after we sat here and thought about this optimization process, the question for this week is, of these 5 steps, which step do you feel you need to start on first? And for our follow-up on this Friday, whichever one of these 5 steps gets the most interaction is going to get a deep dive for our Friday follow-up. Thank you so much, guys. I always appreciate working with you, and I always appreciate you coming in week after week and tuning in to this community. I hope that you all will get continued value, and we'll see you on Friday with our follow-up. Leave your comments below. Have a great rest of your week.